So, I've been dating my girlfriend for almost a year, and last month we moved in together. Now, maybe that's kind of fast, I don't know. My parents sure thought it was, but honestly, everything was great in the beginning, and well, we got along really well. And we never had more than like a brief argument, so anyway. But then she started whistling. It's so dumb, I know, but she's always whistling this weird song, and it gets on my nerves, like really bad. My mom kept telling me that once you move in with someone, you'll discover all the quirks they've been hiding from you. And it's not like I didn't expect that to be true, I don't know, but for some reason, this is just an ongoing issue with us, and I don't know what to do. At first, I would just hear her whistling whenever she was in the shower. You know, it was kind of cute, it was like her own little bathroom theme song. I didn't recognize the melody, but it was very distinct. I could mimic it from memory if I wanted to, in fact. Sometimes, it gets stuck in my head, and it drives me a little crazy. I mean, you know the type of song. Anyway, after a week or so, I asked her what the song was, and she just laughed. I'm wondering if maybe she came up with it on her own, something that she does absently, especially once she starts doing it more. Like, I'd be reading a book, and she'd be on the computer, and she'd just start whistling. And I tried to ignore it. I seriously feel like a dick for being so grumpy about it, and I know she wasn't doing it to annoy me, but she'd just go on, and it would pull my attention away from whatever I was doing. So finally, I said something a few nights ago. I was going over some legal documents for work, and she starts whistling like crazy on, and I'm trying to just block it out, but it's seriously excessive. Like, I know you guys are probably thinking that I was overreacting, but I felt like she was whistling right into my ear, and it just frayed my last bit of patience. As calmly and as nicely as I could, I called out to her and asked if she could quiet down. She didn't reply. I asked her again, and she still didn't answer. So I left the bedroom and found her in the living room watching a movie. She wasn't whistling anymore, and for some reason that really irked me. It felt like she was messing with me. And she just looked over at me like she didn't know what the deal was. I asked her if she could stop whistling so much, and she told me she wasn't whistling. Now, I get that maybe she doesn't realize she's doing it, but no one whistles that much and doesn't notice. It's not really like her to mess with me like that, and I don't know what she's trying to get out of this. I thought maybe she was teasing or playing a joke, but she had to see how annoyed I was. I asked her again to just not whistle so loudly, and she didn't answer. There was tension in the room, and it felt like our first fight since moving in together. Even though she didn't whistle for the rest of the night, I couldn't focus on my work anyway, because I was just so upset about the confrontation. Then, of course, the next night, she was whistling again. I hear her when she comes home from work, and she keeps going for at least an hour. I didn't want to have another fight, so I just hung out in the bedroom and listened to her move around for a while. I felt like I was blowing things out of proportion, but honestly, how hard is it to just not whistle all the time? It's no big deal when it was now and then, but I feel like she whistles more than she talks to me now, so I'm sitting up in the room thinking about that, and that's probably why I was worked up when I finally came down. She was cooking dinner, which is sweet, but she was still whistling. So I said, softly, "Hey honey, maybe we should put on some music instead of you whistling." I tried to play it off like a joke, but I knew she'd probably see through it and get annoyed at me. Again, she didn't even turn to face me. She just huffed and kept cooking. After a minute, I told her I was sorry about the other night, but the whistling just sort of strikes my ear wrong. And if she could try to not whistle so much and so loudly, it would make my life a lot easier. I feel like I was being fair. I know it seems controlling and nitpicky, but it was bothering me a lot. We all have our things, you know, and I try not to chew loudly at the table because it bothers her, so why can't she just stop whistling sometimes for me? But she totally freaked out. She turned around and told me she wasn't whistling and she didn't know what my problem was. At this point, I don't get why she was doing this. It was obvious it wasn't funny for either of us. She seemed genuinely upset, so I don't know why she kept provoking me. I asked her what her deal was, and why she was so defensive about the stupid whistling, and she told me to shut up. She told me she was sick of talking about it, like I was the one being unreasonable. I never get mad at her, but I just snapped. I told her to stop whistling before I lost my mind. She called me crazy just because I was getting a little upset, and somehow that was all I could take. I grabbed one of the cast iron pots from the stove and I swung it at her head as hard as I could. She fell over and smashed her head on the counter, but I swung the pan again before she hit the ground. I think I hit her maybe 3 or 4 times, I don't remember. But I feel horrible. There was blood everywhere and her jaw might be broken. No, I think for sure it is. I couldn't believe I lost my temper like that, and I have no idea how we can move past this. I feel so ashamed for letting things get physical, regardless of how she might have been provoking me. But here's the kicker. She's still fucking whistling, and I asked her nicely to please stop, but now she won't even pause. For 2 days, she's been lying on the kitchen floor with her eyes rolled back and her mouth hanging open, just marinating in congealed blood, and she's still fucking whistling, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to break up with, this is just too much. I just need her to shut up. Just shut up, just shut up, just shut up, just shut up. Just shut up!